In this example, we'll begin with a quadratic function f of x equals negative 2x squared minus 12x plus 14, and the first thing we need to do is to find the vertex of this function's graph. Remembering that the generalized formula to find the x-coordinate of the vertex is that x equals the opposite of b over 2a. In our particular situation, the x-coordinate will be the opposite of negative 12 over 2 times negative 2. The opposite of negative 12 is 12, and 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So we have 12 over negative 4. And 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. This gives us the x-coordinate of the vertex. But the vertex is a point on a graph and has two coordinates, an x and a y. To find the y-coordinate, we simply substitute in that x value into our original function. So the y-coordinate will equal f of negative 3. To evaluate f of negative 3, I will substitute negative 3 in for every x, making sure I put it in parentheses. So f of negative 3 will be negative 2 times the quantity negative 3 squared minus 12 times negative 3 plus 14. Negative 3 squared is 9, and 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. 12 times negative 3 is 36, and we have a plus 14. And negative 18 plus 36 plus 14 is a positive 32. So the vertex of this particular graph will be the point negative 3, 32. In part B, we need to answer, will this parabola open up or down? Looking at the original function, f of x equals negative 2x squared minus 12x plus 14, because the leading coefficient on the x squared is a negative 2, and it's a negative number, we know that this parabola will open down. In part C, we need to answer the question, what is the domain of this function? The domain of every quadratic function is all real numbers, so we can write this as the double bar r representing the set of all real numbers, or in interval notation, we could write this as the interval from negative infinity to positive infinity. And in part D, what is the range of this function? To visualize this, we can do a quick sketch of the graph because we have a fair amount of information at this point. For one thing, we know that the vertex will be at negative 3, 32. So that will be roughly here in quadrant 2 at the point negative 3, 32. From part B, we also know the parabola will be opening downward. So we can quickly sketch out a downward parabola that has its vertex at negative 3, 32. Keeping in mind the range is the set of all y values used by this graph, we can see that the y values top out at 32, but go down forever. So to write this in interval notation, keeping in mind we go from negative to positive, the range of this function will be the interval from negative infinity up to 32. The negative infinity will have a parenthesis because it is not a number and we cannot include it, but the 32 will have a square bracket because 32 is actually a y value used by a point on this graph, so 32 needs to be included in the range.